Hello and welcome to Chess with Simon. I'm Simon. Today we're going to look at the Albin Counter-Gambit, which is an interesting line for black to play. It's a little bit different to many of the responses to 1d4. It's for people who like to move their e-pawn, get the kingside pieces developed, play active chess. So with best play here, white's a bit better, but black has lots of practical chances, and the biggest and most exciting chances. This is the opening. So what happens is this: d4, d5. White plays the queen's gambit, and then black just plays a counter gambit. e5 gives up the pawn. Black then pushes on and creates this pawn on d4, which is really tricky in terms of stopping white develop. For instance, knight c3 is now not a good move. So something naive that a white can do is to play e3 in an attempt to get rid of that annoying pawn. Clearly, if black took there, that would be great for white because takes with a bishop, and white has a winning position, much better. The problem with e3 is black has this, bishop b4 check. When white puts the bishop in the way, now black takes. The best move here is fe, where white has a slightly weird pawn structure, but if white goes ahead and takes that free bishop, black takes here with check. The king can't take because then the queen's hanging, so the king has to go to e2. White takes on g1 with check. Now, if the rook takes, this bishop check wins a whole queen. So you don't want to take with the rook. So what that means is, if you go back with the king, then actually here, taking on d1's not great because the knight ends up a bit trapped, So actually queen h4 here, and this is quite common in these sort of positions, is really problematic, and the king can't even go to d2 because the knight's covering it. Obviously, this move is problematic because of the check. So basically, the point is, e3 is not great. The main line for white is this: knight f3, knight c6. Then white basically wants to develop the king's bishop, but not via e3, so you play g3. In the old days, well, I used to play bishop g4 on the black side, hoping to get a quick attack down the h-file. You know, this was in the days before really powerful computers. White castles. We castle long, and then we're basically trying to get a quick attack. The problem is queen b3 is a pretty good move. So, for instance, I think more than once I've seen this on the white side. I don't think I've played it many times on the black side. Takes, take. If you take here, looks like you get the pawn back.
Mate.
That's checkmate. So the thing is, white's got some pretty handy pressure there, and it's really hard. I mean, I suppose another thing black could try to do is this. Then I think e6 is a really good move. e6 is a really good move that sort of breaks the coordination of the queen and the bishop. So really, that's a bit much. All of those ideas. So black is better playing his knight here, basically trying to gang up on this e-pawn. Bishop g2. The knight comes around trying to gang up on the e-pawn. White castles. Just play sensibly. So the main, or the sort of engine line and the main line is takes. So now black got the pawn back, and actually black looks pretty good here. I mean, the thing is, white's development is better. White's got lovely harmonious development. This pawn still looks quite useful though, but what white can do, and it almost looks paradoxical, is to attack this pawn with the bishop. So we just develop, attack the pawn with the bishop, because then we can play c5, and it looks like that bishop is biting on granite. It looks like, you know, that bishop's going nowhere, and it's actually really misplaced. But actually, this e3 move that was so toxic earlier on now proves to be a really good move, because you're basically undermining this pawn. This pawn cannot be sustained. I mean, sure, you can play bishop g4, queen d2. The engine line hit will be to castle. And then white's taking here. I mean, actually, so this knight move actually does look irritating. And what you don't want is, for instance, for the queen to land on h3, then land on g2. But a move like, well, white wants to play knight c3. say black plays queen d7, you've got moves like queen f4, which basically, the minute the queen goes there, you're taking the bishop. So white can defend it. It's a little uncomfortable for white. I mean, black still has chances. Black has the 2 bishops. There's some weak squares around the king, but the engine's really preferring white. White now has an extra pawn, and white's safe here with sensible play. So the kind of summary is, it's fun to play as black in blitz. It's playable, I would say, very playable at club level, and I've seen it a lot, and I enjoy playing it. I wouldn't play it in the final round of the World Championship, but it's an interesting opening to know. Hope you're all well.